Our third spotlight for this week is the Presence, the god of the DC universe. He was created in 1940 in More Fun Comics.
Damn, 1940, huh?
When the Spectre came out, around that time, because you had to have the Presence to create the Spectre. He's also known as Yahweh, Jehovah, and Elohim.
Yahweh.
So basically, the same words used to describe him in like the actual world.
Did he ever use God?
He's literally God.
Did they ever use that, or is that just not? Okay.
But they refer him more as the Presence just because they don't want to bring like true religion into it. Like they go as close to the damn line as you possibly can of saying that God is like the God, like the Christian Judeo-Christian God. The religious cosmology of the DC universe is complex, with many other pantheons and deities coexisting alongside of each other. It involves elements from multiple religions, mythologies, and modern created concepts such as the endless. It is not always clear how the Abrahamic God fits into this. For example, one particular Wonder Woman storyline featured the Greek Titans fighting Abrahamic angels and Hindu gods. So basically the writer of this said the sort of unspoken rule is that the DCU is that God sits above all the others. So above the Greek gods, the Roman gods, any of the other ones, the presence is the God.
Okay.
DC superhero comic books, or comics, have always drawn upon Abrahamic religions for plot elements. The first appearance of the Voice was in the 1940 origin of the Spectre, like I said earlier. But they have traditionally used surrogate concepts and names rather than referring to the Abrahamic deity directly. The comics, published into the Comics Code, a set of ethical guidelines drawn up in the 1950s in reaction to the anti-comic book hysteria. The code does not explicitly refer to a god, but does say that ridicule or attack of any religious or racial group is never permissible. And that's the reason why they don't just say God.
So that's when we changed it. Okay.
Yeah, the Comics Code basically...
Damn Comics Code fucked up everything for a long time.
Right. So later revisions of the code are phrased in terms of respecting religious beliefs and religious institutions, which may account for the comics' hesitancy when dealing with the word God in the actual comic books.
Right.
He is the Abrahamic God, but they can't just say God because they have to say all religions in the comic books. The lack of central doctrine means that multiple aspects of God have been introduced by different writers. Significant examples of God surrogates include the Voice, which is the disembodied voice of the presence that spoke to and empowered Jim Corrigan as the Spectre. This is the most active version of God seen in the comic books. At one point, it even answers the Spectre's prayers by resurrecting the murdered Justice Society of America. When the Voice uttered the first word, it created the Word, and it was already being tracked by Destiny in his book. So that's
the word.
Like, it's the Word, like quotation marks, the Word.
Is it the bird?
It's the word.
Bird is the word.
Bird.
Fucking wild. You'll bird the bug. That's all you hear.
Also, another interpretation is the hand.
Oh, God.
They catch this hand.
You have to catch all these hands.
An image of a hand appearing out of a nebula has been referenced numerous times in different DC comics as a metaphor for the creator or the mystery that exists at the moment of universal creation. However, the identity of the being whom the hand belongs to varied over time. It is first seen in Green Lantern number 40. In Thanat's Tale, it is revealed to be an illusion created by the Guardians to prevent investigation into the beginning of the universe. In Crisis on the Infinite Earths, the hand has turned into a predestination paradox as the hand of the villainous Anti-Monitor, who tried to rearrange all existence to its starting point but failed. The hand was later seen reaching down from heaven to embrace the invading great evil beast, and stated to be the hand of God by Etrigan. The idea was visually called back in DC Rebirth whenever a hand was seen reaching through time to change history. The true identity of the one manipulating this timeline was later revealed to be Dr. Manhattan. So it's changed what the hand reaching through time is. It's also been like that, basically the arm wrestle between the Anti-Monitor and the Spectre at the beginning of time. So there's also the Source. The Source is a universal spirit from Jack Kirby's Fourth World cosmology, like where there's the Source Wall and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the Presence. The Presence is an unseen Abrahamic deity that Grant Morrison's fictional angel mythology. We also have Wally, in parentheses.
Wally.
A being claiming to be a manifestation of God appears in the form of a young boy wearing a baseball cap. He first appears in Peter David's Linda Danvers' Supergirl series. A similar character later appears in the same author Fallen Angel series. There's also the Metaverse. In Doomsday Clock 10, Dr. Manhattan deduced the DC universe acts as a metaverse and constant change. And when Manhattan created the New 52 timeline, so we can blame Dr. Manhattan for the fucking New 52, the metaverse decided to fight back through Wally West. Whether this metaverse is another form of the Presence himself remains to be confirmed. So it's basically Dr. Manhattan saying that there was a force outside of him that was pushing back against him to destroy him, basically.
It's weird. I can feel it in my dick.
It's just a blue swinging there.
There's fucking blue balls. You know what's funny? Like in the original Watchmen, the movie,
Mhm.
right? They made a normal sized average penis, and then in the show, the Watchmen limited series, his shit looked like a fucking baseball between his legs. You only see it once, but it looked fucking gargantuan. I'm like, okay, so I went a different route with this guy.
Yeah, that's...
Because the movie recreated, they changed some things about how people, or how the event happened.
Right.
It was supposed to be like a dimensional, like an attack from Dr. Manhattan. He attacked a bunch of cities, and that's what stopped the nuclear buildup that was happening.
Right.
Because Russia and America were about to go into a nuclear exchange.
Mhm.
In the comic book, it was an interdimensional squid ended up landing in Manhattan or some shit or whatever city. And
So was it a take on like Starro?
it kind of seemed like it, but it was just a regular squid that he just found that because it didn't attack anybody really. It was just like it just fell onto fucking Earth, and people just changed like, oh, I guess we don't need a nuclear disaster. We can stop now. And that's what saved that comic book,
Yeah.
or that's what saved the comic book world. And so they followed the comic book version. So basically, the miniseries on HBO follows the comic book, but because it was set in the 80s, the movie, the miniseries follows those repercussions from the comic book now into like the 2020s.
Right.
So it was crazy because I'm like, what, an octopus? Because I've only seen the movie.
Right.
So I thought it was like that weird attack he does, like because he somehow is able to to mimic Dr. Manhattan's attacks. So he destroyed like all these cities to make it seem like he was attacking humanity, so that humanity would come together and like face off against Dr. Manhattan, and he would just leave and live on the moon. But in the comic books, it was a fucking squid that he teleported from a different universe or from a different reality. He just fucking then he just fucking flops and lands in the fucking city.
Huh.
And then everybody's just like, oh, we got to be better people now. And then Dr. Manhattan just fucking retires. He becomes a regular human.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? This is what happened?
Like this makes even more like less sense.
Like, yeah, like I would understand if Ozymandias was framing Dr. Manhattan, and Dr. Manhattan went along with it because he did in the movie.
Yeah.
He's like, it's the only thing. He's right. It's the only thing that makes any sense. And so he goes along with them like for humanity to come together, but him to just release a squid, I was like, that's an odd fucking choice.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a reason for it. Maybe like they thought it was an alien invasion.
Yeah.
That never really materialized, so they all came together. But I was watching the show. I'm like, when did the squid attack the fuck? And one of the characters that was in the miniseries was there as a civilian because it's set in Tulsa.
Yeah.
And in Tulsa, there was an attack by some group that really went after every police officer at their homes. So the police said that could never happen again. So they decided to costume up all their police officers. So anyone in the Tulsa police force had a secret identity, and they had their superhero persona. So no one knew who the cops were.
Right.
And that way they were never their family was never targeted again. Their homes, right? So it's kind of cool. Like it was like a legally sanctioned superhero team in Tulsa. All the police officers have uniform, like costumes, different characters, whatever, or motifs, and they all just protect Tulsa. I didn't know Tulsa was the biggest, baddest fucking city in the world to need a superhero team,
Yeah.
or for every police officer to be a fucking superhero. But that's how it was. Like they were costume vigilantes, but they were sanctioned by the government.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It was a good promise, but
Concept.
it didn't last very. It lasted one season.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at that though. All right. Other references to him. Many references to similar beings appear to be obvious references to the Abrahamic supreme deity, but they are sometimes revealed to be other entities in the DC universe. Some events from Abrahamic mythology are assumed to be part of the fictional timeline of the DC universe, but they often involve significant artistic license. For example, it was Eclipso, the original agent of God's wrath, who caused the mythological Great Flood, and it was his replacement, the Spectre, who unleashed the 10 plagues on Egypt and later parted the Red Sea for Moses. The DC universe is repeatedly shown to have been created via a variation of the Big Bang and human evolution through natural selection, yet paradoxically, it also has a Garden of Eden and a version of Lilith, Adam's first wife.
Damn.
In which Cain, Abel, and Eve tell a story of Daniel Hall, grandson of Carter Hall, about a past, and Abel says, "Oh, this what wasn't on earth. What was it? Let's see. Oh, this what wasn't on earth. The before being hushed."
What?
Like it's the way that's because that's his dialogue where he was saying, "Oh, that wasn't on earth. That was," and then he was shut up by whoever.
Oh,
Like he was trying to tell them about something,
right.
and he's like, "No, that wasn't on earth."
Well, like Eden or something?
Yeah.
Huh.
According to the series Lucifer, the Presence has vacated his creation, and his granddaughter Elaine Belloc has taken his place. The series does not address his relationship to the other aspects, and its events have largely been ignored by subsequent authors. In another story, the fallen angel Asmodel, try to remember the actual pronunciation for it, Asmodel invades the Silver City with an army of bull host angels.
Bull host?
Yeah, where they have bull heads and stuff like that. Because think about it, Zariel is the one that has the eagle head, basically design.
Wow.
And Neron's demons to claim the throne of God, only to be told by Zariel that the Presence was not in actuality truly sitting upon a throne in the highest heaven. He was part of everything and everyone, part of heaven and earth, and perhaps even hell itself, and thus could not be dethroned by any rebel or by any mortal or angel. Asmodel is stripped of his angelic powers and condemned to hell by the Presence to burn for eternity for his treachery.
Damn.
Like, damn. It's like, oh shit.
I'm so sorry. What am I up for parole?
In Hellblazer number 64, it is said that Jesus was conceived from the Archangel Gabriel's rape of a woman named Mary.
Yeesh.
Yeah. In Neil Gaiman's The Sandman mythos, the Presence angelic servants are shown as residents of the Silver City, a place that is stylized upon paradise or heaven. It was initially referred to as a separate place, but has since been equated with heaven. Within the city, there are two towers. At the top of the tallest tower, the Tower of Unending High, is the Primum Mobile, the throne of light, where God resides. Angels can only approach the throne if they are summoned there. The second, shorter tower contains an audience chamber where the voice of God, the Logos, can be heard. Sandman's God is, again, not explicitly referred to by name, and is in fact rarely mentioned at all, save an exchange between Anubis and an angel in Seasons of Mist, on whose authority, and the angel says, "Whose do you think?" The Sandman series weaves an explanation for the many mythical deities apart from the presence in the DC universe. They are described as originating in Dream's realm, born out of people's wishes and fears. They take their power from prayers sent to them and die when they are no longer revered and ultimately forgotten. A significant character in the Sandman series is the fallen angel Lucifer Morningstar, who rules hell. In Seasons of Mist, he renounces his throne and leaves hell. We've already talked about that. The Lucifer series depicts gods from religions other than the three monotheistic Abrahamic religions, including formless gods dreamt up by the earliest humans before the advent of language, and even tiny, short-lived crustacean gods originating from the hopes and fears of shrimp.
It's all crap.
Since the end of the series, the Presence has vacated his creation and his granddaughter Elaine Belloc has taken his place. How this affects other aspects of the Presence is yet to be seen, though. So the Presence has powers that are literally godlike.
Yeah.
The Presence is the incarnation of the Abrahamic God in the DC universe. The Presence has the ability to empower various angels, including the Spectre, which is technically an angel, which is surprising, but he did have an angelic name before he rebelled and repented. Eclipso, and Michael Demurgos. The Presence has resurrected the dead, while the fallen angel Asmodel invaded the Silver City in an attempt to destroy the Presence. It was stated that the Presence is everywhere and cannot be destroyed. Although the Presence has stated in Lucifer that he is infinite and eternal, he has also said that he is shaped by external forces. So the writers, basically.
Yeah.
It is safe to note though, that he just speaks in reference to the collective unconsciousness giving him shape. He at his utmost form is beyond such concepts and transcends everything. In Volume 2 of the Lucifer series, he is temporarily killed or severely damaged by one of his fallen angels, wielding a sword of his own creation. Through it, though it should also be noted, this was an aspect of his infinite being, as he even says himself. Due to the Lucifer series being set in the Vertigo universe, which may or may not sit apart from the main DCU, this may only apply to the current Vertigo version of the presence and not the presence in the DCU itself. Although this was no longer supportable since DC's The New 52 merged Vertigo, Wildstorm, and Milestone together. This is supported by the fact that the presence is alive and unchanged in the main DCU. So basically, he kind of technically died, but not. It's kind of like that aspect got destroyed, but he's still there.
Huh.
You know?